almost a couple minutes late, so let's just call this meeting to order. Hard to keep an agenda if don't start on time. So, Happy New Year.
Yeah.
Hey. Looks like it's been a while, huh? I'm Diane Flowers, Chair of BPAC. Start with intros.
Oh, Jennifer Lutz, co-chair of BPAC.
Tanya Saltzman, County Staff Liaison.
Chris Chang, ODOT.
Dave Roth, BPAC.
Derek Hoppower, City of Bend.
Greg Bryant, Deschutes Woods, Public.
David
I'll go
Green.
next, Michelle. Go ahead.
David Green, BPAC co-vice chair.
Michelle Rhodes, Ben Lapine Schools representative.
Hi there, Kim Curley, Curley Consulting, BPAC member.
Everybody online? I think so.
Yeah, just one more. Hovey Ariano, ODOT Regional Transit Coordinator for Central Oregon.
Thanks for joining us today. Any public comment?
You mentioned that.
Yeah, I was just going to pull that up. We did get a comment on last month's meeting. I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time with my eyes this morning, or this afternoon. Let's see. It was in regards to Troy Field and
Need bigger font.
Sorry.
I have it printed out.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, I had an eye exam this morning and had my eyes dilated, so I'm struggling. So we had guests, was that several months ago, that joined us in regards to this and asked for some.
Oh, and that parking area.
Yeah, the parking area. Yeah, oh, thank you. That's way better. So did I just read it?
It's pretty long.
Yeah, it's kind of long, but it's in regards to just they would like it to be reflected that the city's parking lot is Troy Laundry, not the field. And had issues regarding the circulation site plan as envisioned by CET that didn't include pedestrian walkways in the deeded alley, making people have to walk through the parking lot and transit station, not on a sidewalk. So they're asking for some clarification on the project that I know Derek's going to talk about later.
Yep.
Any other comments from the public? Thank you for
Greg saying no.
Thanks for bringing that in bigger font.
Yeah.
Okay, so in keeping with what we've talked about, as far as moving the updates up, they have been moved up to the top so that we can try and get through them expeditiously, keeping to some narrow time frames, as condense and say as much as you want, but with 13 updates, it's hard to get them all in. I realize not everybody's here, but would like to try and start keeping our meetings to an hour and a half rather than letting them run long, or needing them to run long, not letting them. So
There's our quorum.
there we go. Here's Wendy. All right. No problem. Don't worry about it. So
Now start.
anybody here from Commute Options? Bend Park? I go faster than I thought. I'm not fast today.
Yeah. See how good.
I'm gonna mark you here.
Derek? CET?
Well,
You're not CET anymore.
City of
Sorry, you're
Bend.
City of Bend.
Okay.
Nobody's here from CET.
Mhm.
Klein's not here, Anthony's not here, and Mark's not here.
We make a forum, by the way?
Yeah, it's cool.
No?
I don't think
We're
so.
close. Um, City of Bend.
Okay, so,
Just
yeah.
moved right down the list.
Thanks, everyone. Derek Hoffbauer, City of Bend Mobility Programs Manager. I'm fairly new to this role, started in August, getting up to speed on a lot of different projects and programs and activities regarding transportation options, bike ped investments. I do want to address the Troyfield comment. That was Nunzi that provided that. And, you know, these, I actually have some plans and renderings that I can pass around. These are a few years old. So these are, as far as the design of which we'll call it the Troyfield Mobility Hub, it's not in the actual Troyfield, it's to the east side of Troyfield, just to make sure that we're clarifying that. And it is in that city-owned parking lot. Dave, there's a couple site plans. So CET had hired parametrics to do some kind of preliminary design concepts. Again, this came out of a mobility hub feasibility study that they led. So when I was at CET, I was working with parametrics on this. And it never got to 100% design, right? It's their kind of conceptual layouts. CET was going to be responsible for building it. And then right around the time that I transitioned, the city said that they were going to take it on. They can use city staff and go bond money to build the site. So it was under Toby's purview, Toby Marks. He's now not at the city. He's working for another kind of tech mobility company and working remotely. And so now this project is under my purview to manage it. And so I'm getting up to speed with all the background documents. As everyone knows, there's an environmental constraint. It used to be a laundromat. We can only dig so far deep. So I'm trying to look at how we can actually put in amenities at that site without really digging too deep into the ground, or if there are other kind of burial removal processes where we can, you know, take the contaminated soil, take it to the hazmat place. So I'm kind of figuring all that out, as well as the overall design. And I think Nunzi does make a good point that the current kind of conceptual layout, you can see it's like right where the fence is, there's not really a good pedestrian access up here. And then some of the bike infrastructure, like the bike parking, and that current layout, which again is conceptual, is, you know, interfering a little bit with the opening and the fence. And so, you know, my role now, I met with an engineer this morning to look at how we could kind of preserve like a path between the fence and the parking spaces. It looks like we could simply kind of pull everything out like 4 to 5 feet. And then because you already have existing pavement there that's in good condition, and put some curb cuts on either side, and that maintains a continuous path. I think Nunzi's concern was that anybody biking or walking would have to kind of go through the train, you know, through the kind of the main transit corridor where buses are pulling it. So she does make a good point. As far as next steps, I'm meeting with my team and our administrator next week to talk about, like, do we need to get this plan up to 100% for the city to build it? Can we make some concessions where we're taking existing drawings and then adding, you know, some pedestrian access? So that's all kind of going to be figured out. But, you know, I would like to see some kind of access. I think there's room to do it, barring any other large constraints with, you know, because it could impact the turning radiuses of the vehicles. So we're meeting with CET next week. I'm meeting with our team of engineers later next week to try to figure out what we need to move this forward in terms of plans. I'm going to go out there today and take some measurements, provide it to our engineering team to see if they can find some space in there to be able to make that happen. And I'll work with Nunzi, make sure that if we do come up with some new plans or new concepts, that I'll share it with her, and maybe even offer to kind of meet her at the site and get a little more detail. But it was helpful to have her put that in an email, because then I could just send it to my engineering group and be like, hey, look, here are the plans. This is the request from the public through a comment period. You know, what do you guys think? And they were able to kind of interpret that versus kind of like verbally, you know, having these conversations, and me not being an engineer and not fully understanding like what needs to change. So the comment is very well understood and being addressed, and this hopefully will be built this summer. And hopeful that we'll be able to find a little bit of a workaround with the ground contamination and being able to pull things, because we have solar powered lights that we want in there. Those need to go 4 feet in the ground. If we can only dig a couple feet, how are we going to put any kind of lighting? We might do some solar bollards or something like that for some lighting. It's not ideal. So I'm just trying to kind of pick up this project. It's been laying dormant for a while, but it's an active project of mine. So I'm intent on getting it figured out and getting a design that has the most community benefit to it. So, and that would be our first mobility hub in Bend. And other than that, it's just a lot of striping. It's not a very, capital intensive project.
When this was first brought to us, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, whatever it was, the two biggies that came up at the time was that there's not enough street turning radius next to minimums unless you take out a whole bunch of parking spots. That was number one.
Mhm.
The other was that the only access through the fence to the field is now in your transit mall.
Yep.
And my understanding, or my poor feeble old memory, was that there was not another access into Troy Field that was allowed except for that one.
Mhm.
And now you're wiping out parking for people wanting to get to the park. And there was, between those two entities, two things, you're losing parking, losing access. Those were the two big ones that I remember. And
I remember a couple of women came and spoke with us.
Yeah, that was Lindsay.
That you were here for that.
Yeah.
You're worried about.
Mhm.
Or-
Yeah, yeah,
because that street's too narrow.
yeah.
You're gonna, any parking that's literally along minimums there will have to be removed.
Yeah, and that was accounted for, that they will have to take out, I think it's like one or maybe two or three
I think there was about 6 that we're gonna have. to
that
come
were
out.
on streets.
Yeah, because you're gonna lose what's next to minimums. And then everybody crowds, I don't want to say crowds the driveway across the street from minimums. And so you're gonna have to take at least one out there, otherwise the back end of the bus is gonna wipe out a car there. So parking down there is bad enough as it is, and now so those were the two biggies that I remember.
Yeah, and this is that's the report that they did on that. I don't know if it quite gets into like the turning radius and that, but and that's why we're meeting with CET, because when I was working on this project, the understanding was that they would be running smaller vehicles through there and
Yeah.
large 40-foot buses, because that was something that the neighbors didn't want, a big diesel bus. There's like a naturopath clinic there, things like that. And so that'll feed into this, is like what types of vehicles. I think we should maybe, they don't always get to choose what vehicles they have. Sometimes they break down to planning for a 40-foot bus to be able to make it through. But I think ideally they would use a smaller vehicle because it's going to be on Route 2. It's not a hugely, high ridership route where they're going to need a large bus. So, I'm just kind of working on the back end, trying to pick up all these pieces and put it together and make it workable, and then see if we can get an updated concept drawing with some of these improvements and making sure that we have the turning radius and we can flag like what parking spots are being moved. And then before we do anything, I'll do some public outreach to the community and make sure that everybody's on board with that. So yes, the losing parking is, that's just, I think, comes with a project that's seeking that take vehicle trips and turn them into transit, walking and biking trips. So I think we just have to assume that that's a benefit in the long run. Assuming that this is a well-used hub, it's going to have some Uber, Lyft drop off, and really trying to kind of reduce BMT in there. So, I think it's a trade-off with that.
Where are you trying to put the pedestrian area in? Trying
It's
to,
kind of right
is it on between the fence?
between the fence and where the amenities are.
It's a parking lot.
Yeah, no, I know.
Yeah, it would be
that's
that
what you're
section.
trying to-
But if
okay.
we moved everything up
Up,
4
right, okay,
feet,
yep, yep.
as long as we have enough room, right? And then we could maybe, and the bus shelter, we don't know what size that's going to be. We got to first figure out how deep we can go. And maybe it's a little bit of a smaller shelter, given that we don't have a good footprint and a pad to be able to put that in. So I think we can design it in a way that meets the needs of the community and move forward with it.
Did anybody reply to Nunzi just to let her know?
No, not yet. I was gonna wait till
I was just suggesting.
and I was gonna.
Yeah,
By you.
copy me, and then I'll respond back and let her know if she has some time next week and she wants to meet me out there. We could do a walkthrough and I can kind of better understand the layout. I'll get some measurements today. I'll check with my engineering team next week and see if we can make some concessions with that design and make sure everybody's happy to the most extent possible.
Right, right.
I have a ridiculous question for
Yes.
you. Since there seems to be a lot of issues affiliated with this site,
Mhm.
I'm assuming that that means that this is really important. You want it in the downtown sort of area and there really aren't anything else going on. I can't think of it either.
There are not, I mean, a lot of thoughts gone into this. It's been on the radar for a while to get built, and it's a pilot program, right? It's nothing's really temporary. Anything we put there could easily be taken out. So if it's not successful in a couple of years, you can take the things out and move them. We have another 2 mobility hubs that we're planning as part of a ODOT carbon reduction grant that's also been going on for a couple of years, and I'm picking that up now and looking at some potential locations in Southeast, Allstrap and Broster House, and then kind of the Franklin and 8th, right around where there's that community garden at the roundabout. So those are identified. We're meeting with CET to see if those locations are like feasible for running transit. The Southeast one is not on an existing transit route. But it's right near affordable housing. So I think it would be really good for like bike share and having some maybe like e-cargo bikes there as part of the city's bike share system, trying to do some vouchers with, houses and apartments there to be able to utilize the bikes. So I'm kind of exploring all these ideas of what's eligible, but ODOT's basically building those projects with the city's kind of guidance on that. And so I had a meeting with ODOT yesterday to kind of talk through this and working on getting an IGA signed. But that would be like design in 27, federal fiscal year 27, construction in 28. So
Anything, it's sort of kind of close, not really exactly, but in the downtown area with the new county building that they did, is there any space you could put anything in there?
it's hard because it needs to be city-owned property, I think, right? Just to, otherwise we've got to buy it or lease it. It's just the fact that the city owns this lot.
Yeah.
It's pretty centralized. I feel like it's a really good location.
It is a good location,
And
library.
it's right adjacent to a bus route. They can just pull around. And with the downtown library, not being there anymore, like this could be kind of a good little hub location for providing some amenities and definitely having some bike share there, just a little community hub.
Who owns Troy Field?
I feel like
It's
it's,
the school district.
yeah.
The school districts?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then there's like a Friends of Troy Field group that I
No, I'm
think
just
they
curious.
just kind of like pick up the dog poop and do other things there and have events and things like that. They kind of like help maintain it. I don't think officially it's kind of like a volunteer group. So this is not a dog park. Not supposed to bring your dog.
I know it's not supposed to be, but every time you go by, that's the
Yeah,
only
there are signs. Yeah, so I don't want to promote that as dog park because it is not. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, so those are, and then just ongoing, we're actually hiring a transportation planner that's going to do a lot of like transportation options work. That position is shifted a little bit. It was like a senior kind of program specialist, but now it's a transportation planner. So if you guys know anyone, that should come out probably by Monday. And I would be working on my team to work on like safe routes to school projects, infrastructure projects, data, counting. We've got multimodal detection cameras that we're trying to get up and these new corridors where we have infrastructure improvements that are kind of like a little bit AI. They're not like tracking license plates or anything like that.
Block cameras.
No, they are not those, but they're basically just counting, but they count vehicles, bikes, and pedestrians. But they have to be 27 feet high. So we're trying to work with like Pacific Power. They won't let us put them on their pole. So that's a whole nother wormhole, we'll call it, because it's technical. But yeah, a lot of cool things happen. It's good to be involved with.
Derek, can I ask about the Mirror Pond North parking lot? Park two?
You could ask, but I don't know if I have any, if I've been involved in any of that. Oh, is that part of the signal design?
No,
Where they're,
I don't know. I just saw it the other day, but there was something north of the Commons, that lot to the, north side of that. They're talking about replacing.
They were talking
moving the
about
parking.
moving the parking there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
turning it into community
Event space.
space or something. I don't
Right.
remember what exactly.
Yeah.
like in a news publication or was?
So, yeah,
Yeah.
That
What are
would
we
be
talking,
actually-
what are we talking again? I'm kind of lost.
the north parking lot, so in between the Commons and what used to be Looney Green,
Yeah, yeah.
has a different name.
Oh, down by
Green
Drake. Park.
Tavern, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Pine
there was a
Tavern and all that.
conversation. So.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that, but I can bring it up next week. Our group. About all these.
We have that idea for February.
Moving something from
Yeah.
some of that parking.
I've heard whisperings of it, but I don't know if that's like a formal plan or just like a concept or.
Yeah.
Well,
But if you want to send me that link, I'll take a look.
I don't even,
Oh, you just
heard it.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Great.
I can plant it for like February or something.
Yeah. Yeah, or I could bring someone in that knows about that or is involved in it.
I'd love to hear more.
Yeah, okay, cool. I'll put it on my
I'm
notes.
actually on the committee, so.
Oh, come on.
All right. Anything else, Derek?
I think that's it.
Fine. One more question for you, just because I ran into somebody right before I came here and they had, and I know you're relatively new, but is, Greenwood Avenue,
Yeah.
is that permanent? Is that still in a test phase or what do you know about
I
that?
think it's still in the, I think it's pilot for maybe another year. Don't quote me on that. But I mean, I think, yeah. You think they're keeping it?
Yes, according to what they talked about at city council, and Kim can correct me if I'm wrong, that's what we've been told at T-Bach as well.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, Kim just gave a thumbs up.
Yeah.
So it'd be hard to take a pilot out when you can't really.
Well, it's a lot of infrastructure and a lot of expensive treatments that go in there. It's not like you can just move those. So yeah, and I mean, I think it's gotten better, right? I mean, there's more people biking on it. There's more people walking. It's the data shows that it's been a little safer, like, fewer collisions and things like that. So I think that was kind of compelling for council but I wasn't at the last city council meeting, so that decisions.
I don't think you're gonna get a good view of how that's gonna get used until only opens.
Exactly. And I think that's the other challenge. And only is a little bit delayed because they're waiting on like the railroad to finish their work, and the railroads are always not very timely on things. And so, yeah, just having these like multiple road closures that are adjacent to each other is not good for like public engagement and getting people on board with improving bike ped facilities. No matter what you say, they're like, oh, we just want places to drive and open streets. So
And
it's challenging.
And we won't know after Olney because then Franklin closes.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Yes.
It's like this rotating.
Yeah. It's rotating road closure.
Fix it, close it. I mean, but we're doing,
Far side,
You know,
it was only
we're
closed.
doing things. I think that's
And
the.
then we'll close it. So
Now they have to close.
over.
Oh, yeah, then Hawthorne. Yeah.
And then-
Mhm.
It's Olney's back open.
Yep.
And Hawthorne's still in
It's
process?
Still in
The money
process, yeah. And then of course you got Reed Market that's gonna close down for like
That's right.
a year and a half, for that overpass. So a lot going on.
All right.
Nothing like living in a city that's growing.
I know, right? So it's not like recession days where it's like, there's no money and we can't do anything and people aren't moving here.
Let's wait till my update.
Yeah.
That's why we link you to the end.
Yeah.
All right, sisters?
Last time I saw everybody, we did the official grand opening of our transit hub. Can't remember if I said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
And then, yeah, so that is exciting and kind of more work there to be done, but especially, you know, with the city of just being like, hey, do we have agreements with like Pacific Crest and other bus stand, you know, maybe we need to do that. Yeah, and then I think I was told that hopefully by the end of the year, the Elm Street bike path will be finished, which has definitely been, you know, so I've been in my 6th year on council, and this has been kind of like my personal favorite project that it's like, but it was on I had to do a state of the city presentation this week for some groups, and they put it in the slide deck that they gave me, so 2026, so hopefully that happens, and looking forward to that one. Yeah. It's needed, and I think will help a lot.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, but you did a great article, was it in the Source or something? I saw.
Thank you.
That was very nice.
Oh, good.
You might know someone who can get that done for you.
Yeah.
Right, Bob's not here. County update?
Yes.
From the county?
Anybody from the county either.
You're crazy.
I mean, I know. Why not? I mean, like Eric was supposed to be kind of our official person now, but
Oh, to come to, I mean, that's the first I've heard that.
oh, well, somebody from the county was supposed to be
More
coming
often.
more often.
Oh,
Lane, wasn't it?
Oh,
I mean, when I get updates, I get them from Tarek and Quinn. But they have relayed, or Tarek has relayed the following.
Here we go.
The county is continuing to update the TSAP with adoptions scheduled for or intended for February, based on how it's going right now. Tarek is working, our senior transportation planner at the county is working on semi-annual road naming. That continues through the spring, more contentious than you think sometimes. Yeah, it's usually not really that pertinent to this group, but it's kind of when roads only have like a house or two. I forget what the threshold is, but they hit a threshold where then it has to have a name. It can, people feel very strongly about that. So it's a lot of work. I think I mentioned this last month, we are in the process of kicking off the Terrebonne Community Plan, which is kind of a mini comprehensive plan for that area, kind of like what we did in Tumalo a couple of years back. It's going to be about a year and a half long process. We'll have some community engagement probably this spring, and I'll keep you guys apprised of that because I will be running a lot of that. Obviously with the potential sewer, there's some anticipated growth and we want to see what the community feels that should look like. So that'll be an interesting series of conversations. And that obviously will have a transportation and bike ped component as much as we can. There's some ODOT updates. And then they just have a whole list on their website, on the road department website of the capital improvements and road projects that are ongoing, including Lower Bridge Way.
What was that one?
Lower Bridge Way and 43rd Street. Construction is anticipated from January of this year to September. Tumalo Reservoir Road, O.B. Riley to Sizemore Improvement Project. Preliminary engineering is complete with construction anticipated until June of this year. Let's see, there's a bunch of others. Again, this is all the same information that's on the website, so I'm not going to belabor it, but Buckhorn Road to Lower Bridge Way project, bringing those up to county road standards. Burgess and Day Roads traffic signal project, which includes signals, pedestrian walks, ramps, buttons, signage, striping, all of that. Clearing of roadside obstructions, not quite sure what that is, but sounds good. South Century Drive Bridge Rehab Project. This includes repairs and reinforcements, rail replacement and upgrades to guardrails. That preliminary engineering will be undertaken throughout this whole year, construction next year. And then I think we're all aware of the South Century Drive Sun River Corridor Intersection Improvements Project. The public outreach part has concluded. but there's still lots of time before the anticipated 26-27 construction. That's the roundabouts that we've discussed.
Who will be working on that project, do you know?
Who will be working?
Like, is that something Tarek is?
I believe it's-
With, or?
I mean, as the transportation planner, he's just involved in kind of planning side of the road department, just standard like all.
Okay.
And that is all we have from the county.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Is Lower Bridge one of the designated bike routes?
Scenic bikeway that goes.
Scenic bikeway, yeah. Yeah, just wonder if there's any process that, when work is done on them, that extra notifications or something because of that status. or-
I think it's the Smith Road, the one that goes out to Smith Road.
Yeah,
it is.
Goes to the Lower Bridge, yeah.
You proposing?
Oh, I'm just wondering, I mean, if if it's a designated route, then I think sometimes those, fall under is that ODOT or? That's not-
State parks, but
Okay.
quasi defunct at the moment.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I was just wondering, because it lives on websites and tourism stuff, and so, if there's any kind of obstructions or something like that, if there's any sort
Especially if
of.
they're doing anything with the bridge there, because there's no other way for cyclists to get through if there isn't the bridge, but I don't know if they're planning on doing anything with that or not.
It can wait.
They could please.
Spandex dries quickly.
They all wear black, it just blends in.
Anything else on that? Okay. Chris?
before I jump in, I want to see, does Hovey have anything? I know Hovey doesn't typically come for ODOT. I just want to make sure.
Always there.
Yeah, I don't have anything particular right now. I'm just kind of keeping track. And I guess I can turn my camera on. And I'm trying to help as I can with like the Troy Field and that sort of thing. Looking in the archives for Derek and finding old things. But I know Kim has a comment about sharing the drawing for the Troy Field, so if you could do that, that'd be great.
Oh, yeah.
In the Zoom. And then as far as transit goes, it feels like 2026 is going to be a sustained service type of process. There's not a lot of funding. There's the increased costs. So I'm just really working with each of my agencies to make sure we have what we need. I think Central Oregon is in a good position. There isn't, imminent cuts or anything like that, like you're seeing in the news for some of the bigger transit agencies. But I am just making sure that I'm here to build a connection with transit and bike and ped. So thank you.
Awesome. So yeah, jumping into some of the other ODOT updates. So I'm sure you all have seen budget update. The governor has announced that she'd like to repeal House Bill 3991. So that was our interim funding bill. Now that there's enough signatures, they would rather repeal the whole thing, start over from scratch. So we'll see what happens in this short legislative.
And it's a short session, yes.
So, as part of her new plan, it's first repeal and then something. So I forget the order. She has 3 Rs, some fancy sequence of things, but I think number 1 is repealing it. Number 2 is reallocating, so pulling money from funding to projects that was allocated by House Bill 2017 that's been unspent to sort of fill that $242 million hole ODOT has for this biennium, and then revisit it long session in 26. So we'll see what happens there. That won't end till 27. So lots up in the air there. We'll see what happens. But our budget woes continue. We have no money to do anything. Thanks.
A quick question related to that, because a friend of mine was saying that she lives in Sisters and I came into Bend early the other morning for like an 8 a.m. medical appointment.
Yes.
And the road was horrible, Highway 20, because I'm assuming that means ODOT really isn't going to do anything to help because there's no money to do it.
We have done some of that hiring. You didn't do the full scale hiring that we were going to do after House Bill 3991 is passed. So we have limited maintenance hiring for critical stuff, but like I mentioned, way back when, even when we hire, it takes a long time to get people up to speed. If you hire a maintenance worker, they can't just be out on the plow,
Right.
on the road on their own. So there's a long queue there. So yes, we're not fully staffed. We are, we're not doing these sort of devastating cuts that we talked about way back during legislative session, but we're still trying to get caught up. So
Yeah.
there will be less service and we're still getting caught up on that lesser service scale.
Sure, okay.
Did everybody see, Commissioner Chang's article in the bulletin today?
No,
It addressed this whole transportation issue in the state. And he brought a good point in that, and forgive me, I may not have the year correct. I think it was 2017, there was a bill passed that the legislature dictated where construction funds and could go or had to go, and the money could not be reallocated to anything else, including maintenance. And so Commissioner Chang's, the basic gist I got out of his article was they needed to go back and not remove that bill, but go in and do a reallocation so that they would pull the money out of the mandatory construction or whatever, it didn't matter what it was. That the legislature said it will go there, and 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 it can't go to maintenance. So to his overall comment, the way I took it, is to go in and reallocate, take money away from, because maintenance right now is far more important
yes.
Yep.
than some legislators' pet project over here.
Yep.
And it was a very good article.
Yep.
So anyway, if you get a chance, read his little article.
Yeah, those were the House Bill 2017 projects.
Is that what it is? Okay.
Be pulling that to most likely fill that $242 million hole.
Yeah, it was just,
Yep.
So
I knew
it sounds
that-
like that is probably the route that's gonna be taken legislatively to fix this, or that's just, it's out there right now as an option.
it's out there, and he just brought it to the forefront. And he's on the state.
Yeah, because
It's
it's
on
on.
OTC, but yeah, I believe that's in the governor's plan. They haven't said what exact projects, and so they're looking at all
Yeah.
the state funding ones, but
But I guess I didn't realize that in 2017, I'd heard bits and pieces of that, but I hadn't fully realized that they literally had said, you're gonna use this money here and you can't use it anyplace else.
the Terrebonne project, the bridge at Lower Bridge Way, that was a House Bill 2017 project. That's wrapping up now. Most of the rest of our projects have been completed, but still.
But anyway, so,
South Redmond, other places.
yeah. Yeah, if you get a chance, read it. It was pretty well written.
Yep.
And is Rose Quarter in that as well, or?
Rose Quarter does have House Bill 2017 money. I can't speak to what they're gonna decide to pull out of or anything like that. Don't.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and I just saw before it came
Yep.
a deal about the interstate bridge is now,
Can't speak to that. I've read the same article.
It's not my review, it's not
the
for transportation.
estimated cost was hidden
Yeah,
from the legislators until just a couple of weeks ago, and it was only brought out from the
yep,
getting public records.
yeah.
They didn't have an estimate, but yet they did. It's now jumped from 6 billion to just under $14 billion for the interstate bridge.
Yeah, good times. See what I mean by we don't have money?
Yeah.
All right, next update, we have a new interim director at ODOT. Lisa Sumption is sitting in as the interim ODOT director, so now between me and the governor, it's all interim people. So that is the current state of ODOT leadership, many levels up. SUMPTION.
Okay.
It's assumption. So, see what happens. Ben Sisters Redmond, that project is moving forward. we should be reaching out for folks for the first PAC meetings and everything soon. So BPAC should be on there, and then some other folks, City of Sisters. So I will definitely follow up. Deschutes County will be on that list of partners. So people should be hearing about that soon.
I was in a social gathering or something and some woman, came up to me. She's like, we really need to have bike paths between cities. And I'm like, well, I have some good news for you. Doesn't mean anything's gonna happen, but it's just going in the right direction at least.
Yep,
That
yep.
was totally out of the blue. We weren't even talking about biking, so that was.
I've got a couple of random ones like that as well. Too.
Yeah.
Yep, and so that PAC should be starting. Safe Routes to School grants, those are opening up in the next few months. So that is nice that money's not frozen at the moment. So good sign that hopefully that won't get rated in this thing. So jurisdictions, especially big city, Bend, Sisters, Deschutes County, now's the time to get some money for some cool projects, especially maybe down in Lapine. I know Michelle over there. That's one of her big priorities. And then one cool project is I want to talk about is we're getting an EV sweeper here in District 10. So this will be our first heavy maintenance EV piece of equipment. We'll be housing it out of Bend, but we got some CRP grant money from a while back. So we'll be piloting that first at ODOT. So I'm kind of super excited about that, see how it works out on that sort of climate side of things. One of the many hats I wear.
What types of surfaces and roads and whatnot do they anticipate sweeping with it?
This will be the same stuff we use a diesel powered one for, so highway operations.
Okay,
So
cool, good.
yeah, hopefully it works out well. We don't have the infrastructure for that sort of stuff yet either, so we're trying to piece it together as we go, but at least we have the money to try it and we'll hopefully be successful so we can get more conversions like that.
Yeah, cool.
Good.
And otherwise, you don't know.
Lots I don't know. I don't get.
You still have a job right now.
For now.
Yeah.
Chris,
Gina's
you
still at the
didn't-
front desk.
You didn't use the words 2 years one time. What happened to you?
What?
You didn't use the words 2 years one time.
What was the 2 years?
Oh, you always say, oh yeah, it'll be in 2 years.
Oh.
Remember?
There's nothing, so.
No, it may not be happening at all, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
All right, so Pat's not here for OAS today. And Michelle, if I can put you on hold for a minute, because I know Kim needs to leave at 1 o'clock and has the meeting calendar and content context that we wanted to talk about as a group. So hope you don't mind, but we'll come back to Bend Lapine Schools. So
Stand by for the Ben Lapine Schools update after.
Of course, all good. Go ahead.
thanks,
Thanks, Michelle.
appreciate it.
Do you want me to go then?
Yeah.
Okay, so attached to your packet today it's 5 pages. There's a lot of space in there, so don't panic. Just the layout of what 2026 could look like with topics. Diane and I have met a couple times. David kind of kicked this whole thing off and we are just moving forward. So hopefully it interests the group to have a meeting focus each month. So we would start the meeting at 1, do abbreviated updates shorter than this. And then our guests would, kind of take the rest of the hour, about 30 to 45 minutes, to talk about their projects, programs, etc. So you'll see a suggested cadence and just really interested in people helping out to recruit these partners. Maybe splitting up the list some. I've started out with February and contacting people in Crook County, and I have 2 people who said yes. So if the group likes the layout, if you have feedback, we kind of talked about this a couple times and nobody's really said, this is a terrible idea, please don't do it. So this is now your opportunity to do that. Otherwise, I think it seems like something to try. A pilot program, for instance.
I have a question about time. because that's my job. You said that we would have abbreviated updates. So like all the stuff that we've just done, for instance, like those would have, everything would just be shorter. Is that the idea? And then we're doing this. So that means, because there's something slotted for every month. So does that mean
Right.
that all of this stuff is always going to be compressed? That's not the special guest? I just have some
Diane?
concerns about time.
Yeah,
About
Diane,
running.
you want to speak to that?
Yeah, I agree. We do have a lot of updates.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, and that, when you think about even just our meeting in general, that takes up the majority, 30.
Yeah.
I mean, even if everybody with that list, if everybody just spoke for 3 minutes, which is next to impossible, that's 39 minutes of our meeting of 90 minutes, and leaves less than an hour for any other thing, whether it's a guest speaker or our agenda that we need to do. So I'm looking for any ideas of how we can change that, because we're not going to get any more time. We've got 90 minutes.
Yeah. And we need to be firm about, like, we can't have 2-hour meetings.
No,
No.
no, and I don't want to have meetings. I can't.
That's my only concern. I think it's a fabulous idea and I like the way you structured it. I just, my mind followed the time constraint.
Is there any way, Kim, is there any way that this could, instead of 35 minutes, could be maybe 20 minutes?
It could be whatever you guys want. So,
Say, see what
I
we want.
think we could maybe try and squeeze 20 in, but 35 will never happen.
I think there's some times that we may want to have more, like, we've got like Deschutes County is on the hook for April. And that would be a great time, hopefully, the TSAP is done by then and he can speak to that. And that actually would probably tie into our agenda as well. Just from
and I think
things that are coming up.
the intent here is to get updates in a formalized way. So when people do update every month, it's not everybody updating everything all the time, because we just heard from Redmond in June. So maybe the Redmond update isn't so long in July, you know. But this is all a work in progress. So whatever feedback, please bring it and let's make it work for the group.
And some of this is already the things that we've planned, like, so May and June are sisters in Redmond, right? So we would have them, and I think we've got South County on here too. And so like the summer is sisters Redmond and South County. So I think some of that we're already considering, going to those places. So I don't know that that's necessarily anything different. It's the other months where we've added a few things. And potentially, I think the other thing, Ken, that we talked about was, so I don't know if it was September or October, we talked about having the summit potentially in October.
Yeah, so in September and October, we could flip-flop trails, parks and trails, and or Oregon State programs, and then attach the state program date to the summit. David, please speak.
This would be a pretty radical change to our meetings, but if we could have the updates come written before the meeting and we all review them ahead of time and then just ask questions about the updates rather than having long verbal updates, that may save some time. I don't know that, I mean, it's a lot of extra work for the updaters and new habits for us, but it may be something to consider.
Well, David, to that, I'm on 2 other committees that actually have budgets and other things. And in that particular case, any person, whether it's treasury or an activity or whatever, they're all sent in ahead of time like that. And so everybody has a chance to review ahead of the meeting and can ask questions. And it does shorten the meeting dramatically, because you can imagine a treasurer trying to list out, we had this income and this income, and then we had this expense and this is, it takes a long time. So if it's printed, it's sent out, everybody has a chance to look at whatever committee report or whatever. So you're right, that will shorten things up a bunch.
But what I see with that issue is that in that case, the treasurer's on the committee. We have updates from people who aren't on our committee. And so to ask them to prepare things ahead of time to put in, I think that's kind of a bigger ask.
No,
Like we needed to hear from Derek today about that project. So,
but that is part of our function of our, whatever you want to call it, our community, or our updates, commute options, bin
Right.
and all that. Those people can still send in a report for their portion.
yeah, but it's just asking them to do extra besides.
And they're
being-
not official members, you know, like, and they, you know,
Yeah.
you come and other people come out of the
Yeah.
interest and, which is great, you know, but it's not consistent and nor do we expect everybody to show up.
And actually, I'd rather have Derek be here talking to us about what they're doing rather than just put it all in a little bullet about it, because I think we had better conversations. So it's really difficult to know in the time period we have, how to make it all work.
I mean, if I might interject, I mean, I think the opposite of that is you could have the updates and not a lot of follow-up and questions about it, and maybe like reserve that time for like follow-up email responses to it or something, or like, you know, I don't know, because I feel like that's the part that's interesting. And
Right.
Yeah.
it's like a question, so, or like staggering it to where you have like half of the updates in one meeting and then the other group comes and does updates. And so it's like every other month. So, because it's monthly, right? So it's
Right.
not like you really have to, your updates could cover 2 months of 2 months. So those would be my suggestions.
That's what I was gonna suggest is, do we need to have every update every month?
Right.
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, well, that's like,
But with that being said, recognizing that you're updating for 2 months. So if you have things coming up, it's about the 2 months, not just what's
And
happening.
then it's gonna take them longer to do a 2-month presentation instead of a 1-month presentation, so I don't.
David, you're muted.
I'm not sure it would take longer. We get updates of exactly the same subjects from most people.
Every month.
Things
Yeah.
are slow.
Yeah,
and some things like COAC only meets every quarter.
That's
Right.
right. That's a pretty
Right.
easy one, because they
And,
don't.
and so there's some MPO isn't always meeting also. And so, yeah, may or may not work.
Fair enough.
And maybe we
But-
can encourage people to trim their updates, like, you know, if there's a no action, we don't need to say like, hey,
Yeah.
this is still going. Like if there's a
But-
date, if there's a milestone, you know, just
right,
maybe
right. That's
tighten it up a
But
little.
Derek's right.
thinking about, you know, if you talk about those updates as tightening them up with upcoming events, recap of prior events, any funding updates, feedback that they need from us, and then any topics for future meetings. I mean, that's just kind of, this is what we need. And then mark your calendar kind of thing. So like if there's upcoming open houses, comment periods, events, and those could be, you know, if we could get somewhere, we could, yeah, if we could get those on a calendar somewhere or somewhere we could kind of pull them together versus having to go through them every time.
But Derek's right. We could split the the outside committee up, do half of them 1 month and half the next,
Yeah,
which would save.
it'd save us some time. Yeah.
I ran into Patrick this morning, another event, and we started kind of talking bigger picture about, you know, BPAC and what can be accomplished. And you know, I think I think in our minds, we would like this organization to be something that we could accomplish all these things, which would necessitate us meeting every week, basically, which I don't think is going to happen. So then it's, yeah, we were kind of talking how we either need to really just get more laser focused on, you know, what's, you know,
Right.
yeah, get leaner about what we're doing, what we're not doing, or go the other direction and have meetings every other week or something. But, yeah, but I was kind of thinking that's probably not going to happen.
Changed. Yeah.
And, you know, so kind of coming back to the, you know, we're Deschutes County Advisory Committee, right? Like that's what we are. And so like when I see, I mean, because I mean, I love everything you put together, Kim. Like I would love to sit and listen to all of these conversations. I truly would, but it's like, I'd love to hear what's happening in Crook County and Jefferson County. However, is that needed? I'm just trying to look for places that, to try to trim things. Again, it's really great to hear what they're doing and partnerships, but ultimately, we are Deschutes County focused. And so, if we need to be picky, then it's more focusing on Deschutes County issues. Because there's always things that I just don't want to get it over scheduled because there's always things that pop up. There's always that issue that, oh, we need to put a letter together or something like that. And I think Patrick and I both agreed that we feel like, and we've talked about this before, but just, we're an advisory committee to Deschutes County, but we're never brought in early in a project, I mean, it was Mark told us about the Sun River project that the county was doing, right? Like, we shouldn't have been hearing that from Mark. We should have been hearing that from the county and we should have been brought in earlier. So I don't know how to fix that.
I'm sorry
but-
to interrupt, and
Yeah.
I'm really sorry that I have to go. So I'll
Oh,
just put this
go ahead.
on hold, and y'all let me know what the group wishes to do. And can I have 15 minutes for my two Crook County people next week, next time?
Yes,
Yeah,
Yes.
definitely.
Okay.
yeah.
Because sorry, I already.
That was one of our biggest issues with the summit last year was trying to get Crook County and Jefferson County to participate. And so if we can get them hooked in, maybe they might want to participate.
This is a more of a not just updates for us, but like relationship building around the region. So that was one of the goals. I think, David, you can take it from here, and I'll see y'all next time.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you can reallocate my update to account for Cook counties. I don't need to get one next month. You guys want to do that? Yeah, I'm fine with that. So
Well, I think we can do we'll do everybody if we did everybody who wasn't here next month, then we'd have everybody on again, practically. But we can figure out which ones to do bi-monthly. I mean, alternate which months, who's got what.
It seems like realistically having, kind of a main focus or speaker or something like really, I would feel like it'd be kind of an every other month thing. Because there's just always other
No,
stuff that comes up,
like today.
So I mean, this could be everything we would like to see, but we might split this over 2 years. For instance, like, depending on the topic, or the agency or something. I mean, obviously, anybody in Deschutes County, I think we're gonna want to hear from
Every year.
but, yeah, maybe the other counties is like, maybe do that every other year or,
The only Benny that I could, well, I shouldn't say the only Benny, but the one benefit I could see by trying to do Crockett Jefferson County to bring them into the fold, so to speak, that it might make it easier when we try and invite them to our summit. It might add to our level of connections to those counties.
And their level of interest in what we're doing.
Yeah.
So Jennifer, there's only two groups that fit that. Am I missing that? Just Crook and Jefferson counties?
Kind of, sort of, the way I look at it. Because we always have a meeting in Redmond. We always have a meeting in Sisters,
And the fun.
and we always have one, Lapine, you're right, or Sun River. So those could be done at those meetings.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
That was the intent.
Yeah.
Those aren't changing.
And it's interesting to me that we get a short update from Bend every month, but we never do a deep dive into Bend. And so I think that's one of the things that we'd like to change. And I think that's true for Deschutes County as well. So those would be in addition to the three outside Bend meetings that we have a year. That would make five meetings a year where we have a subset or Deschutes County reporting to us in detail.
That's
Yeah.
roughly one every other month.
Yeah, about every other
Mhm.
month, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, years ago, I was accused by a previous member who's no longer here of like limiting what we do because I was saying we are an advisory committee to the Board of County Commissioners. So that's our purview, right? And I don't want to limit other things. I think it's great if we can bring in some of these other organizations. I just know that our meetings usually are pretty full now, so we just have to do some reorganizing. And I totally think it's a great idea. I don't want you to think that I'm limiting us. This is a past person, you may remember who I'm talking about. But he had a lot of issues with how BPAC was run, but it's what we are.
Yeah, and I totally agree. I think, I don't know how to do it, but maybe you have advice or maybe things will get better in 12 months. But, having just a closer relationship with, whether it's the BOCC or planners or engineers or anything like that. Because,
How do we get in front of things?
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, exactly.
And-
I mean,
and then
Patrick and I were
catch up.
talking about that and he brought up just in his work with OAS.
Hmm.
He has the same problem because, he's like, we have a great working relationship with Mount Bachelor, but they're, every time that they do a building project or something, they're like, it's at 95% design. And that's when they invite us in. And they're like, no, we needed to be in the beginning.
Yeah.
Right.
You don't have to be there the whole time. We just need to, you just need
Yeah.
to talk to us in the beginning and we're not getting to talk to anybody
At the beginning.
at the beginning. And,
Right.
and we're only sometimes getting involved at the end.
But
Why is that not part of the planning process? Why is this committee
Well-
left out of that? I know you
Have
may
extensive public outreach that they do. If we want a special invitation, is that what we're asking? Because like, that's a whole nother thing.
Well, I look at and correct me if I'm wrong, but as an advisory committee,
Yeah, we
not
should be
just the
advising.
public, that we get to just we should be included in the beginning of it before it goes to the public, so that there's at least some thought, at least in my opinion, that we've thought about bicycle and pedestrians and how this impacts them, and that we've come together and we've talked about what we think we've got a position on roundabouts and put that in before it goes out to the public, so that the public doesn't come back and go, well, now that, we've seen this, and this, and now we got to go back to where, well, our position would have been that if we'd had that. And we're coming to things like these meetings where we're getting piecemeal, hey, we've got a comment period here, and Mark's telling us about the one in Sun River, and, you get another one, and it's just like, why don't we have some central?
I mean, because it's not a priority for the government. I'm going to be frank, they're not going to, at this point, and I'm not speaking for myself in any way.
I get
But
it.
that is like, when they're figuring out this project and they're working with a consultant and they're doing the timeline and stuff, that is not a milestone or a thing that they are often.
Why is it not? I guess
I mean, that is a larger existential question. Not good to answer, but
We get to that point. I guess that's the
Yeah, I
question.
mean, that's the
How do we
question
get to
of the
that
day, for
point
sure.
of who do we need to say is, if this committee is important enough to have, who do we need to convince to put us on that
Right.
up front? Is that the Board of Commissioners? Is that ODOT? Where does that, I don't know where to go with that information.
I mean, that's a
That
question.
request.
Chris's eyebrows went up.
I don't know, Chris, what do you think?
I'm sorry, I got distracted by some other stuff.
I wish we lived in a different world, but that's unfortunately where we are right now. We are kind of pigeonholed into this little.
But how do we get out of that little pigeonholes? And
I mean-
who?
I think we could either talk to, I mean, we could talk to the Board of County Commissioners.
Mhm.
I think we could certainly do that, chair, vice chair, whatever.
Yeah.
Can we talk to, Chris Doty? I mean, would he be the person to talk to as well? Or is he
mean-
separate from he's separate from planning, right?
But
He's
the, like our,
operations,
no, he
Are
was,
there-
I mean, the road department does some projects, obviously ODOT does
or
others.
Nick. I mean, is there somebody we could,
I mean,
or would it really just be more the county commissioners and
I have to give that some thought.
I would rather start with Chris Doty and the head of planning, or Tarek, and talk to them about their process and how we can be involved earlier before we go to the county commission. And maybe that's what we focus on our month that we have Deschutes County come to the meeting.
I'm gonna throw something out. I'm not trying to put anybody down or not. But I've dealt with enough of the people in the county that there's some egos involved. And I'm not gonna name names, but there are some egos involved that I'm gonna do it my way, and that's the only way it's gonna be done. Period.
It's not me, right?
I didn't, did I say any name?
I looked over, Tanya, right when you said it.
Actually, I was looking at Jennifer. I was looking at the calendar behind me. But no, there's some egos involved out there that they know how to do it.
In
And
every organization, everywhere in the world.
yeah, it's normal.
And they're mostly men.
But no, you're right, because when it comes to, I don't care what kind of engineers, there's more men involved than there are women. There are women involved, but there are more men. I just threw it out.
Bite my tongue, Andy.
You.
Michelle has her hand up.
Hi, thank you. I would concur with Dave. I'm not a committee member. I'm not appointed by the commissioners as a committee member, but I have a lot of experience in a public process and public agency work as a committee member as well as a staff person. And it's also been my experience that it's better to cultivate that relationship with the staff first, give that every opportunity to be successful, to have that relationship with them first. Because if I was an elected official and I realize that the committee is appointed by the commissioners. So you have that direct line of communication as a committee member. Okay. You have that direct opportunity to communicate. And, elected officials are so dang busy that they would, I think, really appreciate knowing that you've exhausted. The committee has turned over every stone and that everything that could be done to cultivate that relationship with the staff person first, so that the commissioners as elected officials who are already so busy don't have to address that situation, right? They always want to be supportive, right? But they also appreciate just that direct communication with staff. So that's my encouragement to the committee, is to follow suit with what David was talking about. Cultivate the relationship with the staff first. Do everything you can first. And then if that doesn't work, there's always the commissioners that you can reach out to directly to ask for that guidance to be given to staff. But I think staff would appreciate getting another chance before getting guidance from the elected officials. That's my 2 cents worth that you didn't ask for, but I think it's just based upon my experiences, and I hope that's helpful.
It is.
Okay, so that sounds like the way.
I will just say that, yeah, like going to the commissioners is gonna, like, we're really small potatoes in the board's agenda.
Yes.
And I love us. And they, support us, especially, some commissioners more than others, but like in the list of all the stuff that they deal with, like, they don't want to have to deal with this being like, can you tell the road department to, include us more? Like, I think Michelle.
So
has
we
it
need to talk
spot
to
on.
Chris Doty and maybe talk to.
I think,
planning.
like David said, the talks about it at the
April meeting.
thematic meeting is a great idea. The road department has their procedures and the way they've done things for this is the way, so it's going to take a lot to change that.
We worked with Chris
And
Doty.
that's fine. That's what the discussion would be. But things are very entrenched.
But we do already have some relationships. So
We do.
work with Chris when we do the TSP update.
Great. Yeah,
So I think he would be receptive,
absolutely.
would be my, hopeful. I think he would be receptive to having us have that conversation with them.
He also administers the STIF program on behalf of the county for CET for the pass-through funds with ODOT. So he's invested in transit and has learned a lot about transit. So there's a little bit of a history there.
And who would
Well,
be the,
I think that we should put together sort of a position on this so that we give him some warning before he comes to the meeting or a reason to invite him to the meeting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
heads up.
I mean, and last year I had reached out to him, as chair and, requesting, more, participation from, his department or anybody he felt was good. And he agreed. And, there was one, I don't know, one or two times when either, who was it, Blaine?
Blaine came and Tarek has come.
Yeah. So it was, I wouldn't say it was highly successful, but yeah, what is the county structure? Like, is Chris just roads, like operation and maintenance? And then, because there's also like the design of new projects, and is that under him or is that under?
It's usually, if it's a road department, if it's a county roads project, it's under the road department. The planning or transportation planning is stuff like the road naming and
Yeah.
some of the looking at specific applications for, making sure that driveway permits and the access and stuff like that. It's more the road department, generally.
Okay, so he would be the point person, basically.
So.
Okay. All right, well, that's good to know. So, and yeah, I think everybody understands everybody's very busy and
Totally.
and has very defined guardrails. But yeah, I know, like, all I have is my purview of like working with the City of Sisters, and that we have advisory committees, but we have and again, everything's much smaller scale, but again, we have a process that everything goes through those advisory committees.
Yeah. It's not.
And part of the way, where things are probably it's 75% or something, right? Like the staff and consultants have done this much, and then it goes to our Public Works Committee or goes to our Parks Committee or, and then if it needs to come to us, we kind of get that final version after it's already gone through a committee like this. And so, yeah, we don't always necessarily have to be at the very beginning of the process. But it seems like a lot of these projects were not involved at all. And, I agree. I don't think we're public. I think we're trying to represent the public in a more high level, nuanced way as a committee.
I think that's what the rub is, and that might be where and I know we need to keep going because time, but I think they see that the opportunities for public engagement are sufficient, and we participate through the regular public process. I think that's how they see it. Like, there's not another tier put in there. I think that's how it is, because we are not technical experts. We're people have been elevated because of their interest or their professional expertise, but we're not, where it's kind of a funny position. So I'm guessing that's where they're coming from in terms of the process and how that works. And they see the opportunities for BPAC to participate through the regular channels.
Yeah, and I think that's a reasonable position for them to have until we can make a point that we can add value earlier in the project.
Totally.
And I think we can make that. I think we can make that case.
Yeah, I think that's spot on. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. A game plan, sort of.
I think we can game plan this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And maybe pulling up the charter again and just reading through that.
Right.
Kind of
that's what I was thinking of that as well as, maybe I'll send that out later. I'll link to it if I can find it. I think I know where it is.
It's on our.
I think it's on the front page of it. I can find it if you find it, but it's
Somewhere there. It's there somewhere.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. And because Tanya has to be out of here at 1:30, what else do we have to get?
Sorry.
I know.
That's okay.
I'm really the
blanket
So
today.
Michelle still has an update.
Okay, Michelle's up.
I'll make it quick here as best I can to the extent that everybody doesn't have questions. So February 4th is coming up soon. It's a winter walk and roll school day. So February 4th, winter walk and roll to school day. So consider participating if you have family that go to schools or volunteering. There's always schools that appreciate volunteers to help with those kinds of events. And then as Chris mentioned, ODOT has its Safe Routes to School grant application process launching in the next month or so. And I have been already doing significant outreach directly with our partner road owners like City of Bend, City of Lapine, Deschutes County, you name it. So I'm doing my best to work with each partner to promote bike and pedestrian projects for Safe Routes to School, which obviously help the entire community. And then also just on a micro level, I'm also doing things where I can to try to make a positive improvement with, for example, Jewel School, elementary school here in Bend. We have this wonderful problem to solve that we've got so many kids wanting to walk and roll to school that it's plugging up the one sidewalk coming from the north side. So I'm working with the school and our school facilities team to pilot a bike lane right next to the sidewalk within the school footprint, drive lane, to even just see, could it work if we had a little, 4-foot bike lane right next to the sidewalk that would allow to ease the congestion that's happening. Anyway, so that's a micro level, but just, sorry, I lose my voice when I start talking a lot. So I'm going to try not to talk a lot about this because I can also send the slide out, but I'm going to share my screen if I can real quick here, because you have the screen so you can see what I am looking at. I hope I'm getting trying to get the right one. Let me know if you can see a black screen with a white X.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, cool. So Bend Lapine Schools is working with parametrics to develop a shared use path. And this was a project update that some of you may have already seen because it was presented to the Bend MPO Technical Advisory Committee earlier this week. But I just wanted to make sure that the Deschutes County BPAC is aware of this. And I'm going to try to do some very quick highlights. It's not my project. I'm not the project manager. But what I would say is if there we go. If there are specific questions, I can put you in touch with the right person. Oh, come on. There we go. So again, it's to provide a safe, comfortable walking and bike connection between High Desert Middle School and surrounding neighborhoods. And the school district Bend Lapine Schools is working with the city to ensure that any plans align with the city requirements and plans and regional trail plans. Sorry, I needed a drink of water before I lost my voice totally. And the idea is to improve student safety, access, and long-term network connectivity. Oh my goodness. I am so sorry. Again, this was not, I was using the slides. Oh, don't want to make anybody sick. Sorry. I had to get back to the correct. And if this doesn't work pretty quickly, I'll just forget it. But anyway, come on. Sorry, I'm having trouble. There we go. And it's really hard to see this map. I understand it, but I'm working with the slide that I have to work with here. And make it a little bit bigger. So there's some issues going on here where there's going to be some short-term and long-term proposed improvements because there's some uncertainty. What's going to happen with Caldera Drive? That's not built yet. So do you want to do something permanent or semi-permanent? So ultimately what the school district seems to be landing on is doing some short-term improvements to maybe do some repairs on existing pathways so it's more safe and effective for people to use in the short term, maybe create some very short-term paths that hopefully will be part of the long-term solution. But then again, part of it is doing a phased approach of short-term solutions that we can put into place because we don't know all the long-term construction and build out that's going to happen in that area. And we don't want to we don't want public funds to be used in a wasteful way, right? Build something amazing and then have it be torn up 2 years later. So we're going to be doing this approach. And again, if there's if you want more information about this, I'd be happy to connect you with the project manager who's working on it for Ben Lapine Schools. But let's see if I can get to the. Okay, so development and roadway timing, as I mentioned, is a little bit of uncertainty. Looking at Caldera Drive crossings. So the hope and the goal is to have some crosswalks installed as well as creating a path. And then also the school will consider realigning the school driveway there to better make these connections happen. And we also know that long term, there is to the south of High Desert Middle School. And for those of you who are not aware of it, this is around 27th, South 27th. There's also a site that the Ben Lapine Schools has for a future elementary school, but there's no imminent plans for building that out. But that's also in the area, so we have to keep that in mind too. And yeah, so that's kind of a very, very short version of the presentation that was made earlier this week to the MPO TAC. And if you have any questions, I'd do my best to address them, but again, I'm not the project manager, so I don't want to speak for Doug, the project manager. So go ahead if anybody has any questions.
Need to get on to our next item. So.
No. Okay.
That's it.
Okay, great. Thank you. So we haven't touched on, we haven't done prior meeting minute approvals yet. Do we need to do anything with that, with the minutes regarding?
I don't think we have a quorum.
Yeah.
Oh, we don't.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. For sure.
Do that next one.
So, yeah.
Okay. You are correct. All right, Hero Award. Nobody's on that is, Kim had put together a form, a Google form for nominations, but I don't think she's gotten any. And I got one from Mark today. So
I haven't seen it.
haven't seen it. All
Has
right.
that form come out?
No,
Well,
Yeah, I'm not sure how to go about.
okay. All right. We'll get it. We'll make sure we get it out.
Maybe it was put on the drive, but not.
I think
Shared,
maybe that
maybe?
might be what happened. Yeah. All right. Make sure it gets shared today. And I haven't heard from Anthony in a while. Has anybody heard from Anthony?
A few people in general that I think haven't been attending to regularly, so we'll have to see how that goes.
Yeah. All right. Working group updates. Anything from outreach? Jennifer, Tanya, Matt?
No, I mean, we talked a couple months ago, where we had a email chain, going kind of, the bigger
Existential questions.
the existential questions on, of having our big mailing list or not, or just kind of keeping it. I mean, I think we were kind of leaning towards maybe not really doing the big mailing list anymore, but. Okay. I don't like that's what we got to. I'd have to go back and look, but we hadn't talked in the last month, so.
But I think we were, at one point, we talked about being like, having a newsletter, and then we walked that back, because we're like, we can't do that.
Right.
Maybe just having some nuggets, like I think both of you have done as your emails as chair, to be like, our next blah, 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 and PS, like this cool thing's happening, like one or two little tidbits. I think that's been really nice and helpful. It's not just like, here's the meeting, just having a little, that's I like that personally, but.
Okay. And I know, Dave, you and Kim were working on community connections and have quite she posted a new list.
That's that's just the schedule that we just talked about.
I think
And
she's also, oh,
those are
okay.
possible people to talk to schedule those meetings.
Oh, is that what the other document is too?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Okay. All right, then, anything on transit as part of our working groups?
Nope.
Okay. So as part of our working groups, we probably do need to, hopefully we have more people here next month. We need to probably put together a summit, working group for this year.
And who was the person who had the connection with COCC?
Oh, that's a good
Al,
point.
the
That was Dave.
show. Yeah.
Yeah, Hal's out with they just had a baby like a few weeks ago. So he's out for the next couple of months. So I've been working with Noelle Copley, is her name. I'm helping them with like a strategic plan for like reducing BMT and climate and stuff like that. So she could be a good fill-in, and I could reach out to her if you guys want.
That'd be great.
Yeah,
Cute.
because she just emailed me. So on a different topic.
Okay,
Yeah, because I know there's been a little talk about, pushing back to the fall or something like that, but ultimately,
we've got to find a place and time.
yeah, it seems like if COCC wants to partner, then it's really more in their
Right. They get to
ballpark of when they get to decide when and where, what facility they want to use, so.
Thank you, Derek.
Mhm. And then one more thing about transit, CET is going to be issuing fares. I believe the date's February 1st, unless they're pushing that back. So just a note for people riding the bus.
You already said that.
February 1st, yeah. I'm looking at their website now. Let's see if that's changed at all.
Okay.
February 2026. Yep.
All right.
Does anybody have on that topic, sorry, does anybody, maybe Chris or Derek or anybody else have any good go-to places for policies on employee passes or government employee passes? Because right now the city has some, and Sisters has some people who
Yeah.
and started talking about like, okay, well, how do we?
They're working with so Cascades East Trans is working with COCC right now to get their students passes, and then we're in the queue. That's why we're meeting with them on Monday to talk about how that's going to work. Basically, it's going to be a phone app. It's a new partner that's doing the e-fare. It's called Movell. And basically, I think if you just give them like all the employee emails, they can kind of preload that into the app. So whenever somebody signs up and downloads the app, they put their info in, they'd be able to ride free. And then you negotiate like what you think that cost should be with CET, and then develop an agreement. And I think they're willing to, I don't want to speak for CET, but I think they're willing to like try some things out and like, hey, let's, put $500, $1,000 and let's see in a year how many people ride, and we could use that number as a baseline, because now they're able to track people.
Okay.
So instead of giving everyone a pass and like charging everyone full price, it's a way for CET to get some funding, get some
Data.
get some data, like start this process that they haven't done in 4 years.
Okay.
And so that's what the city's going to be doing, is like just
kind of like a
negotiating a
flat
fee.
and then-
Yeah, and then we evaluate. It's kind of like a pilot, evaluate in a year to see how it's doing and who's riding, and then the next year you would make adjustments to that monetary level. That's my understanding of the approach. It's helpful.
So you have staff
Fairly flexible.
that uses CET to
Yeah.
go back and forth for work, and
Yeah.
that'd be great if they could get a discount.
I mean, I know other agencies, federal agencies used to do it, I mean, depending on where you live and all that, but yeah, that's really interesting, maybe. It's basically just going to talk to the city.
Yeah, just to reach out to Bob. He's handling that directly.
Okay.
So, and he'll be excited that
Thank you.
the city is interested in doing it. So,
All right. So in the essence of time, because I know we're about to lose time here in a second.
So I was just going to also suggest, and certainly work directly with Bob Townsend from CET, as Derek mentioned. But there's also a lot of examples of employee transit pass programs around the state and the country. So I would encourage trying to not create the new wheel if there's a model that you can point to. And part of it is that app, as Derek was mentioning, but there's also, the actual agreement of how do people get paid, right? And there's a lot of contractual agreements that happen between agencies, like Oregon State University has an employee pass program. I know at least in Corvallis, I'm not sure about Bend anymore, but yeah, like Corvallis Transit has a really robust and long history in employee pass programs, TriMet. I mean, and so maybe even consider if you want to get some background on it before you talk to Bob, because you'd want to talk to Bob, obviously, like I said, but there's a lot of places out there you can get some background information too.
Okay.
Thanks, Michelle. Hey, so does anybody from the external committee
Do
reports
we have any?
have anything that needs, I mean, I know Neil, Mark, haven't met.
Is COAC met, Dave?
We met in November and we didn't get a chance I didn't get a chance in December to say anything. So it's a little lengthy. So we have a meeting in February. Do you want to wait until the February? Well, no, it's gonna be later in February.
Is there anything that can't wait until February?
It waited from November, so it can wait till February.
We better get you on to make sure you get some time though.
I will say that about 40 minutes of the meeting was taken up by a couple of gals from ODOT that had been doing wildlife studies for the deer and elk and the tunnels, and talking about the overpasses that are unfunded, but potentially going to go between Sisters and Black Butte area. And there was some issues brought up about not only is it cars, not only is it homes being built, it's also predator changes. And but it was I didn't print it off because it's like 40 pages that these gals put together. I could forward it on.
Sure.
And then I can send it to Tanya, and Tanya can send it out. I didn't even print it out because
Yeah, we can always.
just a lot of, but it was an interesting presentation.
Just want to verify that's ODOT or ODFW.
Right.
Well, ODOT or ODF.
Is that ODOT or ODFW? I would guess it'd be
I
ODOT.
thought it was two gals from ODOT that did it because they were talking about the underpasses and, the wildlife underpasses and stuff. It was kind of interesting.
Okay, well.
Hey, you guys, if I could channel Neil real quick, the Street Trust has a draft bill out for micromobility and e-bike laws. The age limits have stayed the same. They weren't able to incorporate those in this bill. I think Rep. Levy has some issues with the age limits, but there's more definitions of like e-bikes and trying to, I think the goal is to get those e-moto bikes illegal.
Yeah.
So you might want to check into that. It's part of this Oregon micromobility network that I'm looped into now with Neil and Brian Potlin from Commute Options. So they're going to probably introduce that pretty quickly into this short session.
Well, it sounds like you may want to get some sort of more of an update.
Yeah, that's a big one. So
Yeah.
just want to make sure we mention that.
Yeah, I see the Forest Service is going to open up some
Yeah.
e-bikes. I want to know what police officer is going to stand at each trailhead to make sure it's only a class 1.
Yeah.
Like it gets on
The
the,
answer is zero.
going to be 0. You're going to have class 2 screaming by at 30 miles an hour and somebody's going to get
And they're already on.
Okay.
big time.
It's back.
Yeah, sure.
I will put together.
Adjourned?
We are adjourned.
Yes.
It's just me. I mean, it ends at 1:30.
Yeah.
Ends at 1:30.
Thanks, Dave and
Thanks,
Michelle.
Michelle. It's 1:36 now.
Sure.
Thanks, all.
Bye.